Hello and welcome to another episode of the Futurum Tech webcast, brought to you live from Share here in New Orleans. I'm joined by Scott Fagen. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Good to see you, Steve.
So we've got chaos going on around us, so we apologise for the noise and the background noise.
Yeah, it's
they're
like
literally they're literally tearing down the show. So I mean, let's get straight into it.
Yep.
Explain to the listeners and viewers what you do for Share and your role.
I am the president of Share, and mostly what I do is I get beaten up by customers and vendors. No, it's really good. We have a great team. We've had a great show so far. All the sessions have been great. The receptions have been great. I've got great feedback. Even this room, right? It's a little bit unusual for a Share technology exchange. Everybody liked the lower ceiling. I mean,
I like the lower ceiling. Yeah. Apart from today when we've got loading vans, the noise in here is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the forklift
if they
to break
take this
through.
away mid-show, it's going to be nuts, but we'll get through it.
We'll chase somebody down. They'll have to pick up the cameras and run with us. So this is our second show where we've been selling the individual membership.
I've heard some reaction from that. That's been really well sort of received. Tell me more.
So during COVID, what we discovered was that there's a real pent-up demand for Share outside the United States, and we went back and looked at who registered, and there was a whole core of people from Asia, a big core of people from Australia, and we spoke to a couple of them, and a few of them were like, it was like a badge of honor to be up at 2:30 in the morning on a session.
Wow.
And they great feedback from them. So what we're looking to do is bring Share to you more than 2 times a year, right? Right now we've got the 2 one-week conferences, and what we've heard from many of our users is that while the show is great, sometimes I need the information, when I need the information.
Yeah, you're doing an upgrade,
right.
You're putting a new subsystem in place, you're doing something, hey, there was a great session I saw on that, and it was 3 months ago. How do I gen up on that? Instead of what's upgrade that I'm planning to do, how do I, I remember one of the IBM guys did a great session. How do I get involved in that?
Exactly. So one of the customers came to me and said, we're not your bleeding edge ZOS customer, right?
Yeah.
They're like, but we love the presentations that Marna does. So what I really need is Marna 24/7 by 365.
Marna as a service.
Marna as a service, right?
There we go.
Because those presentations are great, and they're able to refer them. And rather than looking at a thing I printed out or a PDF from 2 years ago,
it's the hints and tips, and it's maybe the question that somebody asked.
So we're building out an entire learning management system with all of the Share content, plus additional content that we can't present here, right? There's only a few days, and there's only a few hours in a day, right? And then there's the networking. So we're arranging to have way more education than you could ever get in an individual conference. It will go back a few years, as well as...
You're going to go back with content, or are you going to start from now?
We're actually going to start with the prior conference. We've also uploaded most of the content that we've retained from the previous Share Live, from those set of content, and the content itself will be hooked into our communities. There'll be new communities, so you can ask questions about particular presentations, and get to the experts, in an offline kind of way. We're also working on ways to get to people online.
Okay, so there's going to be an interactive component to it?
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Well, that's key and critical to this, right?
Yeah.
It's like watching a movie, right? But sometimes you need to stop the movie and ask the star a question. So we're going to try to make that available too.
And so obviously Share's got a lot of sort of corporate members. And that's going to be all of that's going to be available to those guys. I'm assuming.
No, that is not going to. The new features and functions are only going to be available through the individual membership.
Okay, that's good clarification.
Yep. So, and while supplies last, right, we have a few of these left for anybody who signs up for the.
I've got my eyes on that. I'm taking that with me.
You got $149. You could be a member until the end of next year.
Fantastic. So, what's been the reaction to that this week? Has been lots of sign-ups already?
There's been a bunch of sign-ups this week. That's why we don't have very many of these left, right? I mean, this is worth probably almost as much as the, from a retail perspective, as much as the actual membership. But we've got a number of those. We've got interestingly enough, right? We've got folks from IBM and from Broadcom as well, our strategic partners signing up, and a lot of it's new, so we're thinking about ways to maybe reduce the cost of the membership by providing content, right? So sort of a trade, right? So instead of paying,
so if you're involved in the community, then you maybe get a different rate.
Right, exactly.
Somebody's just purely a consumer.
Right, and also for the full conferences, we're going to give a larger discount on the registration rate to individual members as corporate members.
So basically, you can start to get that back. As I say,
Right.
the delta's not going to be too big. What else has been the highlights of this week?
For this week, a number of really good highlights. Obviously, IBM just released or just announced ZOS 3.1.
Yep.
Lots of great sessions and topicality about that. We had a really interesting AI panel at the kickoff.
I saw Elpida here.
Yes.
I mean, fantastic for her to be sort of
She's
highlighting what's going on. I think some of the stuff we're seeing on the Telum processor and the ability, I mean, I think that's going to be really interesting to watch that pan out.
Right, yeah, certainly a few years ago with the Z15 and now the Z16, a lot of people are asking, so what are we going to do with this? And they're finally beginning to, bring out the software that takes advantage of it and makes it easier for people to use. So I'm not having to sort of build it from scratch. The foundational stuff. A lot of the open source has been moved over to the to the products, and as partners in the ecosystem, Broadcom has done a lot to bring AI into their products as well.
Yeah.
So we need a little AI in here.
Yeah. Maybe the sound guy's going to be able to find these background noises and engineer them out in the post edit. We can hope.
No, I'm just worried that something's going to fall on my head while we're talking here. But because there's a lot of we're not working, but these guys are.
Yeah, there's some serious guys working in the background. So as we literally wrap up, and we wrap up our sort of time here at Share, what are the key takeaways? Obviously, we talked about the individual membership. What other couple of points would you hit?
Key takeaways. Well, we are scheduled for 2 more conferences next year.
Yeah.
In Orlando and Kansas City. Right.
Fantastic.
So Orlando's been a frequent stop for Share.
Yeah.
Kansas City's a little new and different. We're looking to expand some of the horizons on where we go and make
can't be hotter and more humid than New Orleans.
No, certainly not. No, Kansas City's a little bit more temperate than New Orleans in the summertime, and we would like people to come. We would certainly would like to have more vendors show up and show their wares. I think that this is a pretty vibrant community.
Yeah.
Right. IBM is here in Forest. Broadcom's here in Forest. We have I think 45. Well, there were 45 folks in here.
We're new with our booth here, so we'll see
Yep.
you next time for sure.
Awesome. So thank you very much. This is good.
Scott, always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
You've been watching the Futurum Tech webcast. Please click and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.